You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. We've got a great guest today, Ryan.
We do.
He's a friend of mine. Thank you, Kristen Ritter, for the introduction. We just hit it off. We both like, what do you call it? Cornhole.
Cornhole.
We like cornhole. Mm-hmm. And we met at a con through Kristen, and we just hit it off. He's just like a regular dude who's heart of gold, fun, funny. He gets it, and he really opens up this episode. And Skeet, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, man. It was really nice of you. And yeah, what else can I say? Hey, if you like this episode and you just like Skeet and you've never listened to this, if you enjoy it, all I ask you is subscribe to the show and write a review. Follow us. I would appreciate it. It's a little podcast that could. We've been doing this. We talk candidly with celebrities about their personal life, mental health, and other things. And we've grown a nice audience, a loyal audience. And thank you to all my patrons, patreon.com/Inside if you want to join and support the podcast. Tons of perks, like getting your name shouted out at the end of every episode, along with packages from me and many other things. You can go to my Instagram at @TheMichaelRosenbaum, and the link tree. There's cameos. There's cons that me and Tom Welling will be at, doing Smallville cons, May 21st, May 22nd. Don't forget, live podcast at the Bourbon Room. One is already sold out, the May 22nd event. So get tickets now for the May 21st. We do a Smallville Nights where we do is interactive with the fans, Tom and I, and we read scenes, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody goes home with a little gift, and then we do the live pod with Q&A and a bunch of stuff. So do that. Also, I believe if you check the link tree, we're doing our first time ever Smallville Con, and that's in New Jersey. So you want to get tickets to that. We're going to have guest stars and a bunch of people coming to that one. That's going to be fun. And lastly, Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. You can see in the link, it's my product that helps your dog's breath, and it really works. Write a review if you like it, and support. So I appreciate it. And the Inside of You online store, don't forget, lots of cool merch like Leximus scripts signed by me, Funko Pops, ship keys, tumblers, all that stuff. Tumblers like these. Anyway, this was a great episode. We should just get into it because right now people are fast forwarding, and I hope they don't, but they probably are. It's okay. I love you and thank you for the support. Let's get inside of Skeet Ulrich.
It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum.
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. I'm just waiting.
That's how it went yesterday.
I just went, oh man. Yeah. Well, what Skeet and I were talking about was I did this show that hasn't aired yet, and I had to get high. And I don't get high very often. It's part of the show.
It is the show.
It's the show. And so I was, they called me the night before, and they sent the script, and I go, this is 5 pages of dialogue. I'm not memorizing this shit. I just said flat out, get someone else. And they're like, no, you just have to know the story. So just read it over. And I go, the story. So I kind of looked it over, and then the next morning the producers come in. They go, hey, and they're all really nice. And they sit down, and they're like, all right, tell us the story. And I go, all right. And I kind of had the gist of it. And they go, okay, I think we'll bring in the guy who's going to give you the weed. And
so that
we have a medic there. Yeah. We have someone who's by your side if you need anything, if you need a break.
A medic.
And because I'm thinking, oh shit, man, do people freak out?
I mean, I think I would, yeah.
Well, I don't smoke joints. Yeah. I have not had a hit on a joint in I don't know how long. I've taken taffies. Mm-hmm. The taffies are a mellow. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I was so high, I couldn't even finish a sentence. I'd start a story, and I was really into it, and then all of a sudden I go,
where was I going?
Oh boy, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. And but they made you feel really comfortable, and there's a bunch of other actors that did it. And I can't believe I did it, but I guess I wanted to get through it so I could just be like, you got through that. You did it.
It was a buddy of yours though that does it, or no?
Well, my buddy,
your buddy had done.
I'd done stand up with, called me and said, "Would you do the show?" And my agent and all this stuff, and I was like,
You've done stand up?
Yeah, I did it for like a year. And
no way.
And then I realized I just don't want to go to these small cities and like constantly flying. Dude,
So I already got you on a tangent. You're not even smoking.
I'm not even inside. This is inside of me. Now you get high here and there.
I do, yeah. But I'm like a one inhale kind of, and then I'm high, and then I'm like wishing I wasn't, and like.
Yeah, do you get paranoid?
I start to now in my latter years.
I want you to be comfortable, by the way.
Good now.
Are you sure you don't want to prop that? Why don't you prop that behind your back?
No, this feels good now.
You like that?
Feeling kingly.
It's a good hat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely dabble and always have for many, many years. But I've had years I don't. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't drink anymore.
Congrats. How do you feel, honestly? Don't lie.
Honestly, no lie, 1,000,000 times better.
Why? What about you is better?
I think the thing that like you don't realize is how much it affects your hormones, your dopamine, your GABA.
Because it's a depressant, right?
It's a depressant, but what it does is it gives you a dopamine spike. And that's why you chase drinks all night. Like you're getting that little elevated feeling, and then it starts to dissipate rather quickly. So you grab another one, you get that spike again, and then it starts to fade and you grab another one. And what happens is your body cuts off making its own dopamine because it's getting it's going over its full limit. And so it cuts off its own. And then when that alcohol dopamine wears off rather quickly, you're in the depressant stage because your dopamine's been depleted.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I guess I'm finding, and I wouldn't have considered myself an alcoholic per se.
How many drinks did you have a week?
Well, that was the thing. Near the last couple of months prior to stopping, I was getting up there. I was probably having 4 or 5 drinks a night.
That's probably alcoholism.
That is definite alcoholism.
That
wasn't
kids,
regular or part of my life necessarily, only until recently, but it was kind of a godsend, and that it woke me up to any amount of it and the need to sort of just go, well, I need a break. And then
you said that yourself.
I said it myself, and then doing the research, I was listening to the Huberman Lab and stuff like that, who I really dig the way he breaks stuff down medically and psychologically and hormonally, et cetera. But it was definitely, taking a toll on me, and I kind of was knowing I needed to just take a break and thinking like a year is what I'm after, but
right.
Because that's the neural repair process is about a year. And I don't know. I just feel so good. I'm like, why would I go back?
You look better.
Thank you.
I mean, I haven't known you that long,
say that,
but
I
noticed you just look. I mean, you look good, but you look better.
Yeah, I can see it in people who do it as well. My mom has done it for almost 2 years now, and like she's 74, but her skin looks like she's in her 50s again.
Yeah.
Like the amount it dehydrates you, and and so there's a lot of benefit for me to stopping completely.
Yeah, but you think that because you had so many health issues as a kid,
I know
that you would have been like, because you were close to death how many times?
Just one time, but that was enough. Yeah, the one time pre-surgery. I mean, I had a 25% chance of surviving it. And I've never touched cocaine or any hard drugs.
Because that's all heart, man.
Yeah. Like I remember Lenny Bias. I remember where I was when Lenny Bias was announced.
On the court,
his
right?
Death. No, he died.
Wasn't there a guy that died on a court?
Yeah, there was Hank. What was
Hank Gathers.
Hank Gathers, yeah.
Hank Gathers pulled that out of my high ass. Still high from yesterday. Jesus.
Right.
But Len Bias.
But Lenny Bias, who would dominate Michael Jordan. He was, in my mind at that time anyway, in college, playing for Maryland versus UNC, he would dominate Jordan. And he was drafted number 1 and did coke for the first time, supposedly in his life, and died that instantly. And I was like, if this guy who runs sprints for 2 hours dies from it because his heart fails, like what's a kid with heart issues, what it would destroy. I know it. I knew it. So,
how old were you when you had your heart surgery?
I was 10.
And you had a ventricle?
I had a ventricular septal defect. Yeah, VSD, it's commonly called, which is typical. It's the last part of the heart to form in utero, primarily because it it's the wall between the lower chambers of the heart, which delineates oxygenated from deoxygenated blood. And in utero, there is no difference. You're in amniotic fluid. You're not breathing air. So it's one of the last things to form. And if you're premature, typically it doesn't. And even my daughter, who was premature, she had a small one that closed within a couple months. And
were you
that's
scared
typical.
shitless?
I don't remember being scared. I remember being scared of the IV the morning of.
Oh, I meant your
when
daughter.
my daughter. No, because I kind of knew, I had enough knowledge on it, and and I knew that was typical. And had it been going on for 6 months to a year, I would have been a little more worried. But I knew I knew about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, how old when you had surgery?
I was 10.
10.
Yeah.
So you remember it.
I remember it, yeah.
You remember all
I
of it?
remember waking up I think I woke up in the operating room. Now, whether that was, the drugs I was on, the morphine or what, but I woke up in the operating room and there was a guy standing at the foot of my bed with flowers and a balloon.
What?
And he looked at me and he was like, "You passed with flying colors." Now, clearly that guy didn't exist. They don't allow that guy in the operating room.
Yeah, they don't need some clown coming into your fucking surgery room.
Yeah,
hey, buddy. Hey, can I go in there? I just want to congratulate this kid who almost died. Jesus.
So whether that's guardian angel or morphine dreams
you
or
saw
whatever, I saw it, yeah.
Vividly.
Yeah.
That's freaky. I thought, maybe they didn't tell you. Maybe you for a second you died. You died,
maybe. I know they stop your heart. Well, they put it on a bypass machine.
Oh man, that's got to be the scariest thing for your mom. Was she freaking out?
Yeah, I think she definitely was. Yeah, she was definitely worried.
And how does she know? I mean, you talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
It's not like something really new. Yeah. But like when you're young, are you having a lot of issues till that point?
I had a bunch of things happen from my brother and I were kidnapped when we were 6.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? I read that. I couldn't believe it. And you're aware of it at that age, right?
Yeah, it was our birth father, but we didn't know him, and he was never around. And he, gave us to this woman he was married to, and then gave us to her parents, and then we moved around so much, and whether I wasn't allowed to see a doctor or just didn't, either way, I didn't. My care was not of utmost concern.
Did he get in trouble?
No.
They didn't even put him away for that?
No.
Because it's called kidnapping.
It is, yeah. Yeah, but I think, there had to be stuff filed and charges and all this stuff.
And your mom didn't do that?
No, she didn't, and I don't blame her necessarily. And, I'm sure there's a lot more to it that I don't even know or understand, or that can be reclaimed, in a way.
Yeah.
So, for whatever reason, no. And that's all right.
Was it good times at all? Do you remember?
I remember my brother and I really he's 10 months older, and we just sort of made our way everywhere we went, and he got a streak of gray hair at 16.
Oh, man.
From having been my dad for already 10 years at that point. But we bounced around. We were initially in Miami, and we would do all kinds of shit through the streets of Miami, and nothing. I mean, we were 6 and 7 years old, nothing crazy, just
But you had that freedom to do
wandering the street, coming home to an empty house every day. And
You didn't know any better.
No.
This is what it is.
Yeah. And we were yeah, whatever. We had fun.
Is he still with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you talk to him?
My brother?
No, your dad.
Oh, I don't know him at all.
You don't know him at all. So once your mother, you were reunited with your mom.
Yeah.
Right at 10. How 10?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, he sort of disappeared.
And that was it.
He did disappear.
Never came back in your life, even when you had success.
He did one day, when I remember I was going to NYU, and internet, at least for me anyway, came to Manhattan around 91, 92. And I remember, I don't even think certainly it wasn't Google back then, but I'd searched him,
right? Found
him living in Baltimore, Maryland, had his phone number, called him. He came up to New York for about an hour. And
An hour? Was he emotional?
No, he was not at all. And he didn't even really talk about the past. He only talked about my uncle was very successful NASCAR driver. And at that time, he was very successful.
That was his brother?
No, my mom's brother.
Your mom's brother.
And he just wanted to talk about him. And,
That's weird.
Yeah, he's weird.
He hasn't seen his son in all these years.
No, and then he showed up on my farm when I was like 32 for about an hour. And I was pissed after that one.
Well, what did he talk about this time?
Nothing. He had his stepdaughter with him, and it was passing through the area, and first thing I said, how'd you find me? Like in the middle of nowhere. I'm on 500 acres in the middle of nowhere, Virginia. And he said, I thought it was, I saw an interview you did or something, and like about the mountains, and like I was passing through this area and I asked the sheriff. He told me where you lived. I called the sheriff after he left.
The fuck are you doing, Sheriff?
Exactly.
Well, sorry about that, Skeeter. We get calls all the time like that. Normally,
we direct them right to you.
Well, you think a boy would like to see us, Paul?
We're gonna charge you secretarial fees too.
Yeah. So you got pissed.
I internally I was pissed.
Did he ever ask you like, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm so proud of you. You're doing great."
I don't remember feeling that.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the conversation really was. It was just my kids were a year old, just over a year old, and they were just walking. The next day we were moving back here to LA from Virginia. Like the kid's mom happened to be like running errands and wasn't there. It was a weird sort of hour of, I was like, why don't you, I answered the door and Jacob and I are standing beside me. He's like, who are they? After a couple of initial words or whatever. And I was like, all right, do you want to come in for some water? And he was like, well, I probably won't be staying that long. And I'm like, oh, why did you fucking come here? Like, all the therapy, all the stuff you go through to move past, and then like a dude's going to show up at your doorstep for an hour. And
you're fucking my therapy up.
Yeah,
I'm fine now without you. And then you just showed up. So that had to have some, I wonder what therapy was like after he left.
Yeah. I think it took me a little while to get back into therapy after that, just from life, kids.
Yeah.
I started my first TV show ever that next couple of months. Which was 90-hour weeks, as you know.
Jesus,
it's fucking brutal.
Oh, yeah.
So my life changed over that next couple of years, and then I got into therapy again.
Do you resent him?
I don't really feel much about him, to be honest.
You've gotten to the point where you just don't feel anything.
Yeah. I said to the first therapist analyst I ever went to in my early 20s, as I was really angry and lamenting my childhood and, particularly not having a father and this and that. And I remember, crying to him that like, there's nothing that will ever fix this, nothing, and he said, that may not be true. He said, when you become a father, you will get to relive it from the other side in a way that will be very healing. And man, was he right. I got to do everything I wish I had had.
There it is.
And that was so healing.
Oh my God.
And my kids and I are so tight. It's
I gotta get somebody pregnant. Maybe that's the key.
Well, there's this girl that I know that says you did. No.
Oh my God. What?
What?
Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. If you don't have Rocket Money, I'm telling you, I'm not asking you. This is such an important app. Ryan, tell us what happened with Rocket Money.
Was going through some finances recently and I found a subscription. I thought I was on top of all of it, but I found a subscription and Rocket Money helped me out.
Were you blowing a lot of money every month?
It was, enough over time. Like it was a sneaky thing that I got in there. It was a free trial that I had forgotten to cancel. And
Rocket Money is it's a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. It's truly amazing, this app. I don't know why everyone doesn't have the Rocket Money app. 75% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. Lord knows I've done it. I mean, I don't know how many times it's like, oh, Quibi. I got to watch this show because it's only on Quibi. And then I watch it and then I forget to cancel it. And then that one show just cost me $100. So, you don't need to, you need Rocket Money. It's really amazing. I cannot believe when it showed me how much I could actually save or how much I've been paying for these subscriptions each month between streaming services, and you got your fitness apps and delivery service. It's never ending. Thanks to Rocket Money, I'm no longer wasting money on the ones I forgot about. Again, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions and does so much more. And with Rocket Money, I have full control over my subscriptions and a clear view of my expenses. I can see all my subscriptions in one place. If I see something I don't want, Rocket Money can help me cancel it in a few taps. And the dashboard, it shows me this month's spending compared to last month, so I can clearly see my spending habits. It's all right there for you with Rocket Money. They'll help create a custom budget and keep your spending on track. And, Ryan, they even try to negotiate lowering your bills by up to 20%. All you have to do is submit a picture of your bill. Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They'll deal with customer service for you.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features.
Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/inside. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside.
No, but he was not wrong. He was really, really spot on about that. Like, it was very healing.
Because you're becoming the father that he never was to your children, and you're giving them everything he didn't give you, which is so fulfilling and cathartic.
Yeah.
That it's like, that's a beautiful thing, because it could go the other way. Like, you could, follow in the footsteps of being like sort of a, I don't want to say deadbeat, but deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
It
would have been easy to do for sure. I shouldn't say that.
And blame.
I have more compassion.
Well, it's because of him. That's why I'm the way I am.
Yeah. That's the circle.
Yeah. And you broke it.
Yeah.
Because your kids
and my brother broke it. My brother broke it at the same time. Like he's an unbelievable dad, and he always was from the time he was 7, really. So it's not a shock.
Yeah.
But my niece and nephew were, he has gone through hell and high water for any whim they have. And not in a spoiling way or a bad way. He's very diligent. He demands hard work from all of us near him.
I bet it's something like, because what I dealt with was whenever I was sick, whenever something happened, it was never taken seriously. You don't need to go to the doctor. You're fine. You split your lip open. You're bleeding all over the carpet. You're fine. You're toughen me up. But at the same time, it made me feel like, oh my God, they're not taking care of me.
Yeah.
And so there's probably a part of you that didn't feel like you were being taken care of. Because, when you were kidnapped, you probably got sick and all these things. And you're like, why do I feel like this way? He doesn't want to help me or take me to the doctor, or
I know.
So even subconsciously. And now, taking care of your kids' health, letting them grow up, be healthy, you love them unconditionally. You're doing all those things.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's pretty crazy. I know you call your stepdad your dad.
Yeah.
You're tight with him?
Yeah, we're very tight. He's the reason I sit here, to be honest. Coming through a NASCAR family and all racing. And
DK Ulrich.
That was my first stepdad. My stepdad now is the one who really sort of, my mom's been with him 34 years, 35. It's been a while. And he's the one that, like, he was worldwide CEO of Saatchi & Saatchi Advertising for a couple decades, like really an advertising genius and guru, and had, lived in New York for a long time and had been a part of the arts scene and theater, loved theater and all this stuff. And, my family is very, much about the family business and car racing and this and that. And, and I was going in a very different way. And he vowed to have my back. He was like, when I got in NYU, he paid for it. He bought me an apartment in Gramercy Park. He lived across the street with my mom. My mom moved there when they got married. So
he
made
was
the
rich.
Transition easy. He definitely made some money in advertising and knew how to to invest and to, he definitely had done well.
And he was also giving you unconditional love. Like he
was,
listened to you.
yeah.
He gave you advice. He helped you, taught you things.
He was. I'll never forget. Like I went to audition for, was it Billy Bathgate that Lauren Dean did with, I think it was. I think that was.
I remember the movie.
With Nicole Kidman.
Was it Warren Beatty?
I think
Billy
I think
Bathgate?
it was Warren Beatty, potentially.
Right.
But I had an audition. It was like the first audition I ever had, and he read lines with me like in a restaurant in Manhattan. He was like, and he's reading Nicole Kidman's lines, and he's like, everybody in here thinks I'm like the biggest queen of Manhattan right now, hitting on this young boy. And
Oh my God!
but he's a great.
But you remember
great,
that.
great man. Oh my God, I'd never forget it.
And you still talk to him constantly.
Yeah. I'll see him next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So your mom, he and your mom were like really supportive of you growing
Yeah.
up. And when you got into the acting thing, they supported that. There wasn't like, oh, what are you doing? Why aren't you going into race cars? Why aren't you? I guess race cars. Your mom was happy you didn't go into that.
Probably. I think it's I mean, they were really I couldn't ask for anything more. And I was so blessed to get the training I got at NYU.
Was it intense?
It was a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, because it was speech and voice, pre-miking theaters and
the last
movement.
seat in the theater needs to hear you.
And you need to buzz it.
Yeah.
And all the work and the scene work and all that stuff. I mean, it was a lot. But yeah, they were so supportive and there for me every step, which was
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, that was I always say it's a weird thing for me. I always tell how many times have I told the joke, Ryan, about my dad in Denny's? It was on the thing in the live podcast. No, but he was I was like, I think I want to be an actor. He's like, eat your steak. That was it. That was it. He was like, what are you doing?
Steak.
You're going to school. You're going to be come on. You're going to be an actor. Come on. And it just never, it never occurred to him until.
That's when until was what I wanted to know.
Until like, I think he saw me I think it was probably the biggest thing was, Smallville. I guess, when I did this movie Urban Legend, he was like, which is like the cheap version of, there was Scream, there was I Know What You Did Last Summer, and there was Urban Legend, which I loved Urban Legend. It was great. I loved the director. I loved the movie. But it was like, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend.
And we all made them on a whim.
We never.
Horror was dead, and we were like,
we never knew.
Not?
We never knew what was going to happen, and it had some success. But I think he was like, "Huh? You're in a movie?" Because I believe that no one ever, not just my father, but nobody. If you asked anybody from where I grew up, Michael Rosenbaum, who would he do anything? Everybody would say no. There's even me. Mm-hmm. I would say no. Mm-hmm. But it took like some twists and turns along the way, and some people who really supported me and thought I was talented and gifted to go, really, really, really okay. And then it just started to slowly happen. But it's difficult going through life and not having people really just proud of you in general. And so you could just waste away in your mind. And go to therapy and all that. But if you don't learn, to love yourself, to do all that stuff like that, and that's taking a long time. I'm still fucking working on that. I get, I get so down, on myself. But along the way, you have people who believe in you. Yeah. People who are always there. Yeah. And as long as you have one, and I know wasn't there a casting director who really,
There were a lot of people along the way. Yeah. I mean, it was. I was fortunate, and it was mainly NYU that sort of catapulted me, into like doing, I was doing plays. I got my first agent who came to see a play, and she was incredible. And Lean Kashishian, who is, she's
Lean Kashishian.
Yeah, she's
say that
amazing.
3 times really fast.
Yeah. So I sort of launched out of NYU, and I'll never forget, like I did an after school special, was the first, thing I ever filmed, the CBS thing,
How excited were you?
I was pretty excited. Yeah.
Isn't that something that you're excited for, like that?
Yeah.
But nowadays it takes so much more to get you excited.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. That's like, I wish I had that spunk, that, lust for life and enjoyment with everything I did when I was younger, when it was all new. And it's like, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that free thing you're doing. Oh, you're doing a spec spot? That's not even real. I'll do it. You need me to do a voiceover, but I'm not getting paid. I'll fucking do it. And then you're like, oh, wait, how long is this? How many hours am I going to work? How much is it? Who's involved? Before it was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But go ahead, the after school special.
No, I just, it was such a, it was an interesting time, and to do something on film for the first time. And, when it aired, my family, my grandfather had a junkyard he's had forever. And my uncles worked there and cousins, and they all got in the RV that was inside of his, one shop in the back, and watched it on the TV that was in there. And
everybody joined in.
Yeah.
Everybody was excited.
Yeah, they were all excited, and everything just sort of happened. But there were always, I guess, people in the business who believed in me, and you're right. I think that belief is important. I think more important almost is the belief in your love of it, and if you truly, truly love it, the process of creating and filming those things and doing all that, I think you can sustain yourself regardless of outside influence. But that being said, if you don't get that, and you're in that in-between spot where you're not really working and yet nobody's really supporting you, I don't know.
Do you
That's
love
a tough
it?
one. I do, yeah.
Do you love acting?
I do, yeah.
You love it.
I do.
You wouldn't do anything else.
No, I wouldn't know how to
You'd
do
probably
anything.
be in a farming and gardening or something.
I mean, I like gardening and I like building stuff, but only to keep my mind occupied when I'm not filming. I'm dying to go back to work.
And you love being on set.
Yeah.
Love the long hours.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Skeet. I love that you could just say you just love it. You love everything about it. That's a rarity. That's like, when people say you love acting, I don't love the work.
Yeah.
I love it's that you get something and you get the lines and you're nervous and I can't do it. And then you work on it. And then the excitement slowly comes and then you're on set and you're nervous and then you do it and then you get into it and then it gets more fun. But it's a process. I'm not like, oh, this is great, fun. I'm stressed, worried. I mean,
that's all a part of it. Absolutely.
And you like all the stuff that it involves.
I don't mind it. I mean, I guess, we've both been doing it a long time. After 30 some years of doing it, I'm just used to it. And, learning lines is tedious. It's a lot for me. I know some people, it's like Kristen Ritter.
We got to give a shout out to Kristen Ritter.
she would have our throats if we didn't.
We love her to death.
Yeah,
I mean, she's a dear friend, and she introduced me to you, and she goes, you'll love my friend Skeet. Yeah. And I go, yeah, I like his work, so maybe he's cool too. And we hit it off right away. We just started laughing and goofing, and I was like, this guy's cool. He plays cornhole. He comes to my house and beats the shit out of me in cornhole in my own fucking backyard.
You were distracted hosting.
Well, I was distracted because you said the cornhole machines were not far enough apart. And that threw me because then we did it and I had to adjust and I wasn't used to that.
I know. You should play at your home distance that you're comfortable with.
No, I want to beat you at your own distance.
Well, it's not
that's just the rules. 25 feet.
27 apparently.
I don't think I have 27
I know
feet
that's
in my
what
backyard.
I don't think I do either. So I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah. I don't like that you beat me in front of all my friends because I devour my friends.
Well, your friend beat me bad. I can't remember his name. He beat me bad.
Who was that? It wasn't Xander.
No. Name all your friends.
No. Well, I have two. So that's either Xander and Ryan.
It was Ryan.
It was Ryan right here. Yeah, where we talking about Kristen? Yeah, I love her. She's got the biggest heart in the world, and she's so talented. She's one of those people who, you're right, can just look at something and memorize it. And I'm like, fuck you.
I know.
It pisses me off to no end. It's such a gift. If I had that gift to just recollect or just look at something and go, give me 10 minutes. Okay, I got the speech.
Yeah.
and not be that nervous about it.
I know.
I just freak the fuck out.
I know. I've worked with Lawrence Fishburne a couple times, and he's like that, man. He'll like, boom. He's like, he'll get 8 pages. He was telling me a story, nothing that on what we were working on, but on another thing where, he got 8 pages, and he was like, "Give me an hour. Win this trailer for an hour. Boom. All right, I'm ready."
Knew it inside out.
Knew it inside out.
I
8 pages.
That's what scares me, I think. If somebody told me, hey, we're doing this movie, the lines are as is, you don't have to worry about, we're not changing shit on you, we're not going to be, we're going to shoot. I'd be like, fuck yeah. Right away, I'd feel better
that's
about
the difference in,
I don't like being like thrown stuff that
especially when you're doing accents and a very particular characterization, because there's a cadence and a rhythm that is so important. And it's, a lot of the rewriting internally on your own dime and time is gearing it towards this sound, and then you're handed this thing like, well, we're going to cut that part and then add this thing in there. And you're like, oh man.
Well, yeah.
And you can, once you're in rhythm, you're in rhythm. And I think that's what happened for Fish was like, he's in the middle of this thing, and it's not like it's going to go 180 degrees in an opposite direction. He's been prepping this character. He knows this dude. So it's like, oh yeah, all right, well, we're going to do blah, blah, blah. All right, we'll add that and blah, blah, blah. And boom, there it is. It's kind of in flow.
I agree.
But
it's one of those things where I like to play. if I know my shit, I'm not thinking about my lines.
Yeah.
I could talk to you and then action and boom, and we're playing and I'm picking up this glass and I'm like going, I don't give a shit because this is what people do.
Yeah.
But when I'm thinking of the lines the whole time, I can't. I'm just fucking, I just want to get them out.
Yeah.
And it's fucking stressful.
I agree.
Now, I know you're trained, you did a lot of plays, I did a lot of plays, but a lot of actors are like, I just always wanted to do theater. I just wanted to always be in the theater. And I'm like, really? You don't want to do movies and work with big actors and be famous and make lots of money? You just want to do theater? So what's the honest answer of that? Would you go back and do theater? Or is that something that was a part of your life and you loved it, but you don't really have interest in going back?
I'm not necessarily compelled towards it. I did enjoy it. I don't think I was ready in a way for it that I am now. But I also wonder if I have the capacity to remember that much dialogue now after so many years of movies and, stuff like that. And I'm starting to dabble with it. My daughter and I are memorizing scenes from Proof, just to stay in practice of memorizing
just random
stuff.
shit.
Yeah.
That's smart, man. I want to do that. Ryan, will you memorize scenes with me?
He's like, I don't got to memorize anything. I'll read it right here.
He doesn't have a mic, so he can't. We got to fix that. We got to get you a mic.
You do.
We got to work on
need
that.
A side mic.
Yeah, it's over there. You want to go get on your knees over here? This is the mic.
Whoa!
No, that didn't. That's not what I meant.
Wait, you have visual with this. Okay,
that's not what I meant.
Okay,
no, the mic
right.
is on the. Fuck it. Forget it. You got this. You have to watch this to see what we're talking about.
We'll add you in later.
Yeah. Do you ever get starstruck?
I never have. Oddly,
not with one person.
No, and I.
Good for you.
I don't know. I'm thinking in work environments though. I think outside of work, I probably have been.
Like who?
I don't know. I met Brad Pitt a couple times, and he's super nice dude.
He is. I met him once. Cool.
But I was a little starstruck by him.
Yeah.
There's a little vibe about him that's like
cooler than cool.
Cool. Yeah. I want him to like me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's that.
Yeah.
I was never the cool guy, so it's like when you're hanging out with a cool guy, it's like, hey, I'm hanging out with a cool guy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of work, like, I don't know. I worked early with a lot of like really big name people, and like from Jack Nicholson to Chris Walken, Sharon Stone at her height.
Was Nicholson cool?
The coolest.
He wasn't that. Were you starstruck from him?
No, I wasn't. But I was focused on the work.
Did he talk to you like on the outside?
We had scenes that were cut out of that movie that were really funny that he and I had. And
did you ever get those scenes?
I did.
You did?
I only about 6 weeks ago digitized them, and first time I've seen them.
Awesome.
They're wild. I do not see it in the
What
movie.
what happens in the scene?
Well, the initial ending was them coming to, and to the gist of my part in the movie is I get Greg Kinnear beat up trying.
You're a
to rob his
transvestite or
place.
something, or
No,
gay?
I was a hustler, a street hustler.
you're a street hustler.
in New York,
It's
and
been
he
so
and
long.
I, have this relationship that develops. He's painting me, but more develops, and then I get him rolled. Allow my friends to come in, Jamie Kennedy being one of them.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the initial ending was them coming out onto the street, and they send Jack out to ask me for a blowjob to lure me back to the car to apprehend me, which happens. And that's this one scene. And
Well, I was wondering if you give me a beager.
it was he was like, I'd like to purchase a blowjob.
Is that what he said?
And
Like
that's
to
the line.
purchase a blowjob.
Yeah. But he was
Jeez.
amazing. He was really incredible. And Faye Dunaway, I worked with.
Was she a
played my
monster? Because I
mom.
hear monster.
She was not on our, this was Kevin Spacey's directorial debut, and she was the only female in the cast.
And she was cool.
She was very cool.
Was she late?
I don't remember her being late, but she took, it took hours of makeup and,
Yeah.
and she's an old school pro, walking her marks with a mirror, checking the lighting,
Did she ever talk about Betty Davis, how she hated her?
I don't
Did she ever
remember
bring that
her
up? They
talking about
loathed
that.
each
I
other.
do remember that now that
Do
you
you
mentioned
remember?
that, but
Betty's like,
I
well,
don't-
she's completely unprofessional. That's so cool. I mean, getting to work with all these actors at a young age.
yeah, I think,
so-
fortunately I was focused on, the work and
Mhm.
not getting sort of starstruck by them. And now in hindsight, I'm like, I look back and I'm like, oh man, I got to work with some really, really cool movie stars.
Yeah,
that
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And I have too. I'm like, I look at him like, I worked with Clint. He directed my first movie.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Forrest Whitaker. I had a scene with Forrest Whitaker. I'm like, holy
Oh.
shit, man. This
He's
is
one of the
dope.
best
Bruce
ever.
Campbell, Evil Dead movie. Like,
yeah.
Like, so it's just like, it's just amazing. Sometimes you really have to, it's important to sort of look at everything from the outside in.
Yeah.
And just take a deep breath and go, hey man, this is cool.
Yeah, the
You did
gratitude
this.
is big.
Do you say your gratitudes? Do you?
I don't. I feel them in general. I've definitely gone through over the last year, of trying to instill a gratitude practice, if
Yeah,
you will.
yeah.
But I feel like, and now especially not drinking, like it just happens naturally. I don't I don't journal it or but I note things in the day and take a general sense of goodness from them.
Yeah, I feel like you're that. I feel like you're one of the most present guys I know.
Oh,
Just
thank
because like I look at, like, you can show me pictures of your garden and what you're planning and doing work on the house and your kids and it just seems like, you don't wait for work. I mean, you obviously wait for it,
Yeah.
but while you're waiting in the interim, you are living your life
Yeah.
the best you can and doing fun things
Yeah.
and taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Which you just stopped drinking, which is,
Where do I stand in this world of actors?
yeah.
There's a lot of talented people out here. You being one of them, they're everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's and there's a lot of talent. I remember an interviewer asking me after As Good as It Gets, because we started filming on the streets of New York and wound up, ending out here in studio work, stage work and stuff like that. And asking what the difference was of working in New York and LA. And I was like, well, in New York, you're on the street doing scenes and you feel like any number of people that walk by are probably better actors than you are.
Yeah. There's so many better actors.
And in
Yeah.
LA, everybody who walks by is definitely better looking than you are.
Oh my
So,
God.
like,
I can attest to
that
that.
was the big difference for
Yeah,
me in the
yeah.
two. But yeah, you start to really go, I wonder where I stand in terms of just the brass tacks abilities,
Yeah.
to process 60 pages of dialogue.
Yeah.
Can I still do that? I don't know. So I
Every
want
week.
to, yeah.
Every week, if you do a show,
Yeah.
every week can you do 40, 50 pages? I don't think I
Yeah.
could. I think if I
I
was,
can handle it in TV. I don't know. I mean, like a play is the one I'm really And you're right. You know,
a play you have 4 to 6 weeks to rehearse it, so you're doing the same lines for 4 to 6 weeks. So you're like learning a script pretty much. So I think you could do it. But if you're doing a TV show and it's 7 days of like doing 50 pages, and then the next day they're starting the next episode.
Yeah, it is a lot.
That is
it's 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours every night of learning lines. I remember headlining shows that like
Jesus, man.
Just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
And then you're rewriting as you go. And,
yeah. Fuck that. Did you ever, because you had to have gotten compared a little bit when you were younger to Johnny Depp. You've heard that shit.
Yeah.
Did you hate that?
I felt like it took away from a little bit of what I was doing.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like that it sort of overshadowed what I felt like was good work. That, you know, and it didn't completely take away from it, but I mean, in my mind, like it just
like, I don't want to be like someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and you weren't at all.
No.
But I think you were just so hunky.
I don't know, but it was, you know, it was a bit frustrating for sure. And I could see here and there resemblances and stuff, but it's not like, it didn't seem like it needed that much press time.
You know what it was? It was that he did this horror movie where he was the kind of guy.
Nightmare.
And then you did, another Wes Craven movie and you were the guy. But the difference is he was innocent and got murdered and you were this fucking killer.
My part was bigger.
Your part was bigger and better and stronger.
Wes liked me more.
And you got to go nuts, you know? And I worked with Wes on a movie that, you know, never was seen. I mean, but I got
Which
to work.
one?
It was a movie called Cursed, but he just sent me a letter and
I
said,
was in Cursed.
Well, they fired everybody off the first movie because
they didn't fire me. I quit. But
you quit, and then they reshot it, and
but we shot all but the last 3 weeks of that movie. We shot for nearly 3 months,
and then they canned it.
Well, Miramax stopped it to rewrite it, paid us all to wait 2 months for the rewrites, and then we had options out, and it was.
And you left.
I left.
You're
it
like,
was
this
not
is
a
not
great
gonna be
experience. Like,
no, well, I knew
not because of Wes. It just was not going well, and I don't think the script was, you know, quite where it needed to be or what really it was meant to be.
I know.
But they spent a lot of money on that movie and then decide, you know, we had Hollywood Boulevard shut down for a night from like, I don't know, Highland to like La Brea, that whole stretch where Ripley's is and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that they could turn all the lights off for this finale thing. I mean, like they spent a lot of money.
And Christina Ricci did the first, and like she was. So when I got there, I didn't realize that, but Wes sent me a letter that I still have, and he was just like, telling me, I love your work, and I'd love you to be in this movie, and just like, And I looked at it, and I was like, it's such a small part. I'm going to go uncredited, but I want to work with Wes, so I just went uncredited in the movie.
Yeah,
and I did it, and I just felt like everybody there didn't really want to be there.
Yeah, it was a weird vibe.
It was a weird vibe, but Wes was so cool. He would say, all right, do a take now like Walken. Do a take like Malkovich. Do a take like just fucking and having fun.
Yeah,
and so I had fun with him.
Yeah.
He was a dream, but I felt like, and it felt bad because I was like, man, Christina Ricci doesn't like me.
Yeah.
I was like, she doesn't like me. And then I realized, no, she doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
She's like doing this movie again.
Yeah.
And so later on, I met her years later, and she was so sweet and cool. And it was just like, I was nervous. I was like, I'm on this big studio film, and I'm like trying to do my thing, and I had to wear a fucking bad wig because I was bald, and it was an experience.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Yeah, I didn't realize because once I sort of jumped ship on that, I never really looked back.
You
never sought it out.
Yeah, why would you do that? I wonder what's up with that movie. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. How did Joshua Jackson really do it?
You know, with the big Wes Craven movie you did, was it something that you've asked this, but you knew you had to keep secret what would happen so you could learn all your dialogue?
Well, we had this was pre-spoiler worries and all that stuff, you know.
So you had it.
Yeah.
But they kept it a secret.
Thing from, you know, the moment they let it out.
I auditioned for it.
You had the script
for Lillard's part, but it was sides.
Oh, okay,
I don't think I had the script. I had sides.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I got the full script, and I remember like getting the part, and I had to do press for another movie I'd done, and I was doing an interview with Interview Magazine. And they were asking me what was coming up. And I was like, oh, man, I'm going to play this serial killer in this movie and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, exactly. And then I hung up the phone call and I was like, oh, And I called my publicist right away, and I was like,
You can't air
blah,
that.
blah, blah, blah,
And they
blah,
didn't,
blah.
right?
And yeah, and they were able to like,
Oh my gosh,
stop
my
it.
heart stopped.
I know.
They would have killed you.
I know. Imagine.
Could you imagine if everybody knew the ending?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So fortunately,
Jesus.
there was some
But
kindness.
you
and-
obviously became friends with a lot of these guys. I mean, you didn't really.
I did. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't long after that I moved to Virginia though. So I don't know, friendships in this business are hard to maintain because, we're all going different directions all year long. And so you can spend, like, I remember I did a movie with Tobey Maguire. We played best friends for 7 months for Ang Lee.
And that was it though.
And yeah, and that was it. I had a farm in Virginia. He came back here. And we see each other and it's like,
Hey!
it's like, oh my God.
But you just don't feel like the need
like,
to hang out.
but it wasn't that weird. He was going that direction. I was going that direction. We were busy doing this. And then the next friendship happens through 7 months of filming, or now you don't really shoot movies for 7 months unless you're, doing.
In Lord movie.
Yeah, exactly. It has to have a Lord in the title.
As the Lord. Lord.
But you know what I mean? It's hard to maintain friendships in this profession.
Yeah. Unless you just vibe with someone, you enjoy being around them, and their schedules are permitting to where you can see them and go, oh, that's
That's the great thing, right? About a film career is, you can do 2-3 movies a year and still wind up with 3 months of downtime to hang, to do other things.
Yeah.
It's just a different walk.
It is.
World.
Yeah. You surround yourself, I feel like, with good people though. Like I met Dermot Mulroney through and he just immediately made me laugh.
Yeah.
Just such a fun guy to be around.
He was and I have not known him that long, but we were shooting Scream 6 in Montreal. I had all of a couple of hours of work on set. So I wasn't on there that much, but I finished. And then we had a cast and producers dinner on the Saturday. And then we had like a press shoot the Sunday. And we had dinner together and amongst a bunch of people, but we sat beside each other and just chatted. He's from Virginia. I'm from Virginia. We just, we had the same agent, we just had a lot to talk about, this and that. And then, had a great couple hours, whatever. And then the next morning going to that publicity shoot, I tested positive for COVID. And I had to go to New Orleans shortly. I had I had to fly home to LA. The next day, the Monday morning, I had like a week at home, and then I was off to New Orleans for like 5 months. And so I tested positive, and Paramount had or whoever had a policy that you couldn't fly until you tested negative.
Right.
And he called me. Dermot did, and was like, oh man, I heard you tested positive. I'm at the pharmacy, at CVS, I'm going to get you some stuff.
Wow.
I'll get you some Gatorade and some of this and all this for your symptoms. How you did, checked on me, everything. I literally spent 2 hours talking to him, and he took care of me. And he was like, I know you need to get home. I know you want to see your kids before you go away for a little while. He, for some reason, had my back and was there for me in a way nobody else was. And it's not like I knew it. I'm not.
He just went out of his way to
he just went out of his way to be friendly and and
that's awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, this is a good
so that
dude.
doesn't exist really. You don't really see that. So you were like, I want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it feels like when you guys are together, you're like the best of friends.
I know. And it's really
crazy,
not
man.
been that long. And I was like, you should do this, these signing conventions and stuff like that. And he's, he has thanked me up and down and left and right for turning him on to that stuff. And it takes a real onus off of some of the year to make a little bit of money on the side.
Yeah. And make fans happy.
Happy.
Do you enjoy the cons?
I enjoy the exchange. Yeah. It's exhausting.
It is, because you want to give everybody everything you have.
Yeah. I feel like, and we've been in this business so long. You used to crave somebody to ask you for your autograph or to want to take a picture with you.
Yeah.
Or it used to be like so I would, and to this day, I would, somebody on the street, whatever, wants, yeah, absolutely, whatever, sign this. But now people are paying for it. So I feel like I owe them, not only what they paid for, but the experience,
Absolutely.
moments or something.
Yeah.
And Matt Lillard's really, really good at this stuff and taught me a lot about sharing gratitude, about how, he, as he says it, he can change a kid's life
We
with
all
one
can.
sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
One, I see you and I see what you're going through, and that's it. And, and he's right. And, so there's a lot I get out of it, and there's a lot I give out of it, if you will.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's very rewarding. Yeah.
I give everybody that moment. And when someone needs to talk to me and say, and I could see the tears in their eyes, I immediately just zone in.
Yeah.
It's like I can't just let them go without knowing that, hey, I hear you and you got this. I just can't. I can't just be like, thanks so much. You know what I mean?
And if you ever needed any validation that art has a valuable place in society, go to one of these, because there are any number of people who will tell you how much you helped them through a hard time.
Yeah.
How you were, and this is just a piece of art that you created, but that it takes on a whole nother life to people. And so I think there's real value and societal value in art, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who thinks that.
No.
But I'm reminded of it, as we do those things.
Hey, if somebody wanted to do like a Jericho reunion, because people love that show.
They do.
They do. And it only lasted a couple years.
Yeah.
And people like, would you consider it if it was a good script or a 1-out TV movie or something?
Yeah. I mean, I would, absolutely. That was such a special group of people, and such a great show to be a part of, and story to tell. And there was so much left to tell, and it was just at the wrong network, unfortunately. But yeah, I would definitely. I mean, Netflix tried to buy it about, God, it was as much as like 10 years after it aired. So like 7-8 years ago now. And
wow,
they wouldn't sell it, unfortunately. But it got to the point they thought they were going to sell it. Netflix did. So it got to like, schedules and locations and all this stuff. It got, up in the pre-production part of it. And then CBS balked. But part of the discussion when they asked, like, would you come back? I was like, well, I will if we agree on where the story start point is. And the story start point for me, or in my mind, was, 5 years later, and we had devolved even further than you could imagine. And we're now like really kind of living under the town and like being able to filter, really started a lower level rather than we've really figured out society, been cool. And like
they have somewhere to go.
Back. Yeah. So, and they were into that idea and, stuff like that, but we just, never happened.
Would you do another one of the Screams?
I'd probably do another one, but that was only because of the way they sort of talked about, coming back. But I think that would probably be about it.
One more?
Yeah.
That'd be it.
I mean, I'm spending, it's literally like, it's not a lot of work. You know? I like it because I think it's cool that they really want to harken back to the beginnings of it,
and it's cool for the fans.
Yeah,
and it's cool for,
I like the line that they're thinking about, of taking it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of run its course.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, Brian Ray Trout. Does your mom call you Brian still?
No, no one does.
No one at all.
My grandfather did, but
Brian!
he passed a while ago. Yeah, no one.
Zero. You haven't heard Brian in you don't even look.
I mean, only because my license says it. So maybe at like the DMV.
Yeah. And
Brian, get up here.
And I love that your little league coach came up with that, because you were kind of a scrawny little kid, but you're fast as shit.
Yeah.
And so he was like, Skeeter.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I'm a Skeeter.
Does anybody call you Skeeter?
Maybe when people first meet me, or I have a friend I've known for a while. She'll call me Skeeter Bug.
Does anybody ever say, "Oh, Skeet, motherfucker"?
Oh yeah.
Do you hate it?
No, I mean, he wrote
Look at
that
Ryan
song.
shaking his head. I had to say it.
We were hanging out a lot in that time when he wrote that song.
Really?
Yeah,
Who was that?
Me and Little John. You know, we were really good
Lil
buddies.
Jon?
And I was like sleeping with all these women, and it just became a thing he'd say, you know. And
You're such a liar. I was buying it. I was like, Jesus. I was like, wait a minute. No, he's lying. Do you, lastly, do you deal with anxiety at all? Do you go to therapy? What do you do about it?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, I've sort of peeled one of the masks for anxiety off in alcohol and, you know, and so, ironically, you know, in doing so, I have less anxiety because of the way alcohol works in your system anyway. I had gone to therapy, you know, off and on, and even up until a year ago, and a little more than a year ago. And I went away to New Orleans to film and just haven't gone back since, which is like a year now. So
You probably go back, won't you?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I get something from it, but I'm, you know, I haven't been in a relationship in a while, and I think that's usually
That usually is a reason for therapy.
Yeah.
Living alone is also the cause for therapy. You
True.
get really lonely.
Yeah, that happens.
I'm so lonely.
Do you get lonely
I can
here?
die. You know what it is? I have such great friends and, you know, people in my life. I got the wonderful dogs, but like, you know, I still battle with, you know, me.
Yeah.
I get in the way of me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are you so hard on yourself? Or why do you continue to do that when you know you shouldn't do that? Or why?
Yeah.
And then you get sort of, you know, so sometimes it's like, dude, just fucking stop then. You know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
So I get mad at myself. But, you know, just talking to someone, whether it's about something will evolve in the conversation.
Yeah.
And it will go, oh, I'm glad I talked to them. Even though I feel like I have nothing to talk about. I'm like, I'm glad I just feel better. I just feel better. So that's cool. Well, I'm glad you stopped drinking.
Yeah.
You could always hang out with me. I'm not a drinker.
I know. Yeah.
So we can cornhole it up.
Perfect.
I'm going to get some practice in first, my brother.
You don't need it. You know how cornhole's like bowling, you know, like sometimes you bowl upper 100s, or for me anyway, you may be consistently there. And sometimes like I'm talking like 160, I think is the highest ever. And sometimes I bowl like 80. So cornhole's kind of the same. Sometimes you're like just
most of the time
hitting
you're
him,
pretty
hitting
good,
him, hitting
though.
him. I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, but you know, unlike you, I have been beat many times.
We should have a cornhole tournament one day.
We should air it.
6 teams.
Ooh.
I'll have a videographer come in and do it and just get highlights and fucking put it together. It'd be hilarious.
Ooh, I like this idea.
Cornhole tournament.
Yeah, I'm down.
Who would be down for that? Dermot for sure.
Dermot, Jamie, Lillard,
You.
me,
Me.
yeah, you, me.
Oh, my friend Ethan for sure. Ryan's in.
Ryan's in.
Oh, we have enough.
We'll
have
be
pl-
fine.
We'll
We'll
have
make
plenty
it
of teams.
work.
We named 6 teams until
Yeah.
people are like, dude, we don't need to hear every fucking name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This is a real treat, dude. I told you this.
yeah,
was gonna
man.
be-
Thank you. Thanks for having
Did you
me.
have fun?
Yeah, I had a great time. I love what you do, and
Thanks, buddy.
I think this is really cool. I don't do many podcasts, so it's.
I know you don't.
Yeah. it's
So
fun.
I just, you know, I said it once. I think you said it when we were in
I probably did.
somewhere.
I was like-
You're just like, I'll do your podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't listen to them much, and I'm
listen
not
to
100% aware of all the, but like I mean, obviously a lot of people are really into them, and there's a lot of value in them, and
Yeah.
I'm just now starting to, you know, with the Huberman Lab and different stuff, seeing, oh wow, there's a lot of information that's out there that I was unaware of. And
Yeah, well,
this
I'm
is
glad you did it, dude. I'm glad you did it. And you'll see how many more people, you know, follow you, and because you
Right, yeah.
opened up a little bit, you talked about some personal things, and
Yeah.
people love that. And, you know, talking about mental health and just dealing with life, and, you know, it's cool. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you, man.
all right, man.
Thank
We'll
you
see
so
ya.
much. Bye.
Skeet, you're the shit. I love you. This was a lot of fun. And another shout out to Kristen Ritter. Not that she needs it, but I love you, woman. Thank you for getting me Skeet on the podcast, introducing us. You are an amazing woman, and she was an amazing guest too. So you need to listen to that episode if you haven't listened to it. And if you fast forward it, listen to the beginning. Go to my Instagram, Linktree, all the events, things coming up, live pods, cons, cameos, all that stuff is there. And I really appreciate it. Ryan, you still going to therapy?
I am still going to therapy.
Good.
I
am too.
My work mandate. No, I'm. It's been going well because I've got a new therapist this year, and it's been good to have different kinds of conversations, basically about the same things, but just having like a different perspective.
It is. BetterHelp online therapy. They've been a sponsor for a long time, and it's helped a lot of people. And I urge you to get therapy. I do it. It helps me immensely. If I didn't do it, I think I would be just more all over the place. And it grounds me. It makes me think about things. It makes me understand. It connects the dots to sort of my childhood to now, why we react to certain things. What, it's so much more than people think. Oh, if you're just dealing with a lot of trauma, that you should get therapy. That's not true at all. It's like you want to work on yourself so you don't get to a point where it's traumatic and you're so far down a rabbit hole or whatever of anxiety and depression or whatever you're dealing with. And I love therapy, and I will continue to do it for as long as I live. If you're wondering why my shirt is different, it's because this was edited. So there you go. We're going to do the shout outs now. Top tier patrons, patreon.com/inside of you. Without you guys, I couldn't do the show, and you mean the world to me. So thank you for always supporting the show. And here we go. Patreon.com/inside of you. You get shout outs. You get boxes sent from me. You get Zooms. There's all sorts of fun stuff. So become a patron now. Nancy D, Leah and Kristen, Little Lisa, Yukiko, Jill E, Brian H, Nico P, and Zach, Robert B, Jason Dreamweaver, Sophie M, Raj C, Jennifer N, Stacy L, Jamal F, Janelle B, Mike E, L Dan Supremo. Where are you, Dan? I haven't talked to you in a while. Jeez, 99 more. Santiago M's always hanging around. Leanne P, Maddie S, Belinda Narlisle, Belinda N, Dave H, Brad D, Ray Hadada, Tabitha T, Tom N, Talia M, Betsy D, Rhiannon C, Corey K, Ryan,
Dev Nexon, Michelle A, Jeremy C, Mr. M, Eugenia Leah, Mel S, Chris S, Eric H, Oracle, Amanda R, Kevin E, Stephanie K, Jor-El, Jam J, Leanne J, Luna R, Mike F, Stone H, Brian L, Jules M, Jessica B, Kyle F,
Kaylee J, Charlene A, Brian A, Marion Louise L. Always love hearing her name. Romeo the Band, Frank B, Jen T, April RM, Randy S. And we can't forget Rachel D, or Jen, the Carolina girl, Lorelai L, Nick W, Stephanie and Evan, Steven, Charlene A, Don G, Jenny B, John, Jennifer R, Tina E, NG Tracy, Tasha S, Keith, some are Tasha, but it's Tasha. But some people like to be known as Tasha, but it's Tasha S. Keith B, Waffles, Heather and Greg, Ellie K, Elizabeth L, Ben B, and Pierre C. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you. Thanks for listening to the podcast. From the Hollywood Hills, in Hollywood, California, I'm Michael Rosenbaum.
I'm Ryan Tails. I'm here as well.
Yeah, we'll wave to the camera. We love you. Be good to yourself. I'll see you next week.